Hello and welcome to my craft room. Today I wanted to do something a little different. I did have a request from a friend wondering how do you do the printable cards, like what is that all about? So Tammy, this is for you. And so I thought what I'd do is just turn this into a more chatty video, just kind of walking you through what you do on a computer, but as well as just, assemble the card with you and show you how I feel like it's kind of easy and fun to do. So first of all, I want to show you, I can't purchase one of my cards to show you the exact download, but I'll go ahead and show you basically the process you go through to download and save the file to then print. So let's go ahead and quickly do that. Okay, so once you've gotten into my Etsy store, you'll see I've got a bunch of cards here. So if you want to purchase something, you would just click on the item and go ahead and add that to cart. Once you check out, you will be given an email from Etsy, and you'll just click on View Your Files on Etsy. And then you'll be able to just go ahead and download. You'll have a whole bunch where you click on this. So I'll just go ahead and download real quick. And once that happens, you won't be able to see it. It just like showed up on the top of my screen. But once you do that, then you can go into your start mode, unless you have a different operation, like a different Windows thingy-majiggy. I'm just going to go into the documents, and as you can see, you have downloads right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and click that, and here it is. This is my file that I just downloaded. So I'm going to go ahead and just move that to my desktop, and you can move it anywhere you wish to. This is a zip file. I believe mine won't be a zip file. It'll just be the JPEG or PNG, I think. So once you have that, let me make sure I get the thing. So this is what mine will probably look like. You'll just get the actual item. If it is a zip file, you just right click and then go to 7-zip, or if you don't have 7-zip, you can always download it and you can just extract the files that way. But here with mine, all you have to do is right click and you go to print. Once you do that, you'll be able to see you have options of which printer and the paper size, resolution. Mine's 8.5 by 11 regular paper, and then you'd go ahead and print, and you can just do that with all of them. So it's kind of as simple as that. I hope that helps. So let's go back into, I'll just show you how to assemble this real quick. So once you have your sheets printed out, they're going to be like this. So I always have, the decoration page, really, the card base where you're going to go ahead and sign your name when you're finished. Usually just a solid color, sometimes a paper pattern, and then the envelope. So I wanted to show you here, what I usually do is I'll give you the choice of, at least a blank, sometimes multiple choices for the sentiment, but this you can just lay your clear stamp and stamp something beautiful. This is the envelope little seal, and this time I decided to make a cake that pops out. Sometimes I have this entire piece that'll pop out, sometimes, and so I've got the cake and the sentiment this time that'll be popped up. So it just depends. This is the insert that you'll put inside the card. So the card decorations, the card base, and the gorgeous envelope. So one thing I do find really fun about this kind of a thing is if you have a set of cards and you weren't quite prepared for something comes up, you want to thank somebody really quick, and you don't want to have the pressure of trying to design and figure out what card and, such. Or do I have the right tools? Do I have the right stamp? Do I have the right font? All that kind of stuff. I feel like having digital, like printable cards where you just print them up as many as you need, it can be very helpful. So I wanted to show you basically how I just go about this. And we could just chat, I thought, So I usually take my big trimmer here, and I'll see if I can, the hard part is I always make sure I have a shadow, because then I can actually see, and this lighting for the video doesn't give me a good shadow. But where I have my cutter in my craft room, there's this perfect shadow that makes it so I can actually see through my paper and where my trimmer is going to be. So please forgive me if I don't cut this correctly when we're assembling. You're like, Deanna, wow, your card is a bit off. But yeah, you know, we'll do the best we can. I like to usually do one side, like, you know, a full one side here. That way I'll have, well, you'll see in a second. Now it's easy for me to see where I need to trim. And the reason I don't just put this against the side for that reason is because the printer is not always perfect. So when your printer rolls the paper through, it's not always perfectly precise. Now I'm very, very perfectionist, so I see that I've got a little bit of a line guide still, so I'm just going to cut that off. So there's that. So I love the fact that we can just do like straight lines, and I try to make sure there's not too much cutting out. However, there is always going to be a little bit of the, you know, like we're going to cut the cake out and the sentiment and stuff, but it's not, I don't feel like the cutting is too horrible, but you know, you may feel differently, but I do love these. And I love the fact that we get to have like, you know, a matching envelope. I love doing that. It's just so much fun. So I'll just try to put my hand here a little bit. I'm not sure how much you're going to be able to see from the overhead. And maybe I should be moving this in and just get that done. But I do find that like when I'm making a bunch of these cards, it's really not that bad, you know, the time-wise, in comparison to, you know, getting my stamps out, deciding on a die shape, you know, etc. It isn't really that bad, even though, you know, you might feel like, wow, Deanna, that's really stepping backwards. I don't really feel that way, because I feel like this is kind of going, like, this is a great forwards. If you have a computer, if you have a printer, you know, you're set, and it saves you a lot of space. You know, you don't have to have this extra crazy amount of space to assemble these cards, and I really feel like that's helpful, you know, because we don't always have like designated spaces where we can do all of our crafting. And don't worry if your cut is not absolutely precise. You just need to have it basically, you know, pretty good. But this will be, so you've got this, and this is your main guideline. You put this here, and it just lays so beautifully, doesn't it? actually I should do it this way. I really love the way these look. I really feel like as they come together, I just get so excited. So it's fun because I get to design it on the computer, and then I get to, after I do that, I get to assemble it and see how it really came out. And for me, you know, I get really excited about the fact that I was able to put something together, you know, that I can be proud of, you know, and I really want that for you guys too. If you do end up doing this, you know, I really hope that you end up having as much fun as I do in putting them together. So there's that. I think I'm done with the trimmer for now. So now I think most of it's going to be hand cut. So let's see. So I know this is going to be probably a really long video. And I don't know if that's going to be like, wow, Deanna, this is really boring. But I did want to just kind of have a moment with you guys to just sort of, you know, talk about some of this stuff. I mean, you know, as times are changing and, you know, more and more things are done on the computers and everything, and we can share, you know, digital papers and digital stamps and everything, I really feel like it can really enhance our crafting. It can really make us, you know, be able to do more. And most people nowadays will have some sort of a computer. I mean, I remember when, you know, we didn't even have, you know, one computer in the household, and nowadays it seems like, you know, a lot of people have multiple computers. So it's just a wonderful tool, you know, and I feel like as crafters, we can really take advantage of that. And I really love the fact that, you know, if you can't easily get to a store, You know, as long as, you know, you've got ink in your printer, you know, you can create these things. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the sentiment that I actually had done instead of stamping. I had thought about just going ahead and showing you a stamp, but, you know, now I was like, oh, let's just get this moving. So hopefully this won't take too long. I don't know. Let me do the longest, the hardest one, the cake, cutting out the cake and all the details. So when you're cutting, you know, in case you're not sure, you know, if you go a lot smoother if you're kind of moving the paper and not really moving the scissors quite as much. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but yeah, so let's see if my head is just not in the way. Let me see if I can get this. So you just kind of like, you're just like moving along. And you know, if you're just sort of tracing with your scissors, this can go pretty well. I know sometimes it takes a while for us to get, you know, used to that kind of cutting, but once we do, like, it doesn't have to take too long. But I like this. Sometimes it's funny because, you know, now that we have the die cutting machines that will print, well, you don't print off the die cutting machine, but you know, you can print it off the printer and then you cut it. Sometimes I find it's just, most of the time I find it's just so much easier to hand cut something than to do that. Unless you're going to be doing, like, say, wedding invitations or something where you need to do a whole lot of it so your hand would fall off. I really feel like when you're just doing like a couple cards or something, you end up spending more time trying to get the cutter to cut it precise, you know, instead of just quickly, you know, with your hand deciding where you want to cut. Plus, sometimes I like to have a border around what I'm cutting, and I feel like that can look really cute. Like, you stamp something, you cut like just a little bit outside, and it could look pretty. And sometimes those cutting machines will only do around the actual edge, and sometimes they cut off some of it. So I don't know. I really don't think like cutting with your hands is really that bad, but you know, that's okay. That's just how I feel about it right now. I feel like maybe like in the future when the machines are a little more easy to use with that stuff, they'll be a lot more worth it, but I don't know. We'll see, I guess. So there's my little cake that I can use for decorations, and then I'll do the happy birthday, my friend. And I just find this just so cute and fun. Like, I had toyed with what kind of card to show you guys, and when I made this one, I was like, I don't know, it's like pretty much, you know, one tone. Like, it's different tones of pink, you know. Maybe I should do something more cheerful and colorful and fun. And I thought, no, you know, it's just so pretty, and it's cake. It's cake! I mean, I get so excited over cake. But, yeah, so if you don't have a printer, I would think that you'd be able to transfer the file somehow and print it at a place like Kinko's or even Staples or something. You could always like go and ask them, but hopefully everyone, you know, nowadays has a good printer. I don't know. They're really not that bad in comparison to years ago. And a way to like keep your ink going, you know, just find out, you know, print with the lowest settings, you know, at first. You know, you can start with text and see how the image turns out. If it's okay, if you're happy with it, then you can save a lot of ink by just doing it that way. Or, you know, text, photo. Each one is going to have different settings. So I like to do text photo because it's not as ink, you know, thirsty as photo or, you know, premium photo kind of a thing. But it still looks really good. So I really like that. And since these are more simple images, I feel like, you know, you can use less ink and it still looks really nice. So, yeah, you definitely want to test that out so you don't use up too much ink. So, just, you know, having fun cutting this stuff out. I feel like, you know, as you make these cards, they can just be so cheerful. And, you know, if you're interested in creating your own cards, there are so many programs out there that you can use. And, you know, I've always used Photoshop just because that's what we had, because my husband has done a lot of work with that program. So because we had it, I used it, you know, for crafting. But there are other programs and, you know, things that you can use. So I'll try to find them and give you links to some of those programs. That would be more affordable. Some of them are free. Of course, if you get something for free, usually it's, you know, it's not as user-friendly. It's a little more difficult to use. So, yeah, that's not always fun. So I just line this up, you know, so that you can just score right on the pink and white. Oops, looks like I shifted it a little. All right, let's do it this way. We'll just move it over a little bit. So just like going down the pink or paper pattern, whatever it ends up being. And then you got this cute little fold. So that's fun. And oh, I still have to score the envelope. I'm like ready to move on. Let's assemble this. Usually I would just have all this stuff done and stickered and scored and just a quick thing, but I thought, you know, I really wanted to show you guys, you know, what I do when I'm just kind of, you know, putting everything together and just kind of, you know, having fun. You know, it doesn't have to be that complicated, and I know like sometimes it can be intimidating, so I just wanted to show you, you know, what I'm doing and, you know, how I find this. So I'm just, you know, obviously lining up, you know, the edges here, you know, so that I can easily find where I'm supposed to score. But that should be good for scoring. And I really love using the score tape type stuff. I just Amazon score tape to find the cheapest, you know, score tape I could find. And I like this one with the white. You know, you can get a couple rolls even for cheaper than you can one. And it's easier to peel off than the red stuff that you get at the craft stores. I just happen to like it a lot. So that's what I use. So here's our envelope. And I'm just going to stick this along the edge here and just snip. I really love how easy this can be, you know, just following along the line. I mean, I used to do a lot of glue and it was, you know, smears out, gets shiny and weird when it dries, and, you know, it takes forever to dry. Sometimes your envelope unfolds, and, you know, I just love this score tape. It's been so wonderful. So here's my envelope. Now I want to stick the seal on, and if I want, I could glue the whole thing on, but what I like to do, just for, you know, ease of opening, unless I'm mailing it, is I just like to stick it, just kind of like put a little tape on mostly the half high part, if that makes any sense, and then just have it glued there, and then this is free. And then if I need to actually keep it down, I can use like removable tape so that it's not too sticky, but it stays down, and that way the person can have a really nice envelope that stays really nice. So I'm just gonna see about where halfway is, put it down, and we've got this gorgeous envelope and seal, and voila, there's that. So now, for some of the more fun part, we're going to decorate our card. Now I'm going to lay it flat. I see I've got a little bit of pink because my cut wasn't absolutely perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and just trim that off. No big deal. Never need to worry. So just now I can use the base here to keep it straight. And I'm just going to trim a little bit of this edge as well. Just want to make sure it's as precise as possible. And if you're wondering about my big bulky cutting machine, in case you're new to my channel or haven't seen the review, I love that trimmer, and that's what I use for all of my crafting, etc. And I have an old review on it, and I'm going to be making a new one so that it's more updated. You can kind of see just how wonderful I think that trimmer is. So I'm just going to use the score tape again. This again makes it so that my card will lay nicely. I don't have to wait for drying time. The glue will not affect it. You know, I love the fact that it's got this part here that's not sticky, so I can, you know, lay it down and get my fingers all over on the top, and it's not like sticking to me and being a problem, you know. And sometimes with the runner you can not quite run on the edge, and I don't know, I've been having a lot of, you know, success, I guess, in a sense, like using it this way. So I'll just do that one, and then I'll do the insert as well. I love the fact that these cards have, you know, a decorative inside as well. So I've got a few more really cute cards to put up on my Etsy site. So if you haven't checked in a while, you might want to check back soon. I'm going to try to make sure that I keep, at least for a bit, you know, making new ones and getting new ideas. So yeah, I think it's fun. I'm also, I don't even know if this is the right time or place to talk about it, but I'm learning how to draw. So I've always wanted to, and I've tried here and there and didn't really have good direction, so I kind of felt like this is impossible, you know, but I work really hard at things, and my husband was like, Deanna, you know, if you work really hard, I think you can do this. Like, he is an artist, like, he's really good at what he does, and so it's kind of like, well, I don't know, like, you know, you say that, but, you know, you make it look so easy, and it's not that easy. So I've been making some cute characters, and just kind of like, I mean, obviously, I got a long way to go, but at least they're not, you know, completely deformed characters anymore. And eventually I was thinking I might use those for cards as well and clip art and stuff, but we'll see. If not, at least it's just a really fun thing for me to be doing and trying out. So isn't that just so pretty? Like, we just added so much to our card by having a beautiful insert, don't you think? I love just that simplicity, but then we can write, and it's just, oh my goodness. I love when you get to decide like how you want something. I love designing stuff. I love putting stuff together because I get to do it the way I want it, you know? I want something beautiful on the inside, the outside, and I want it easy. And I feel like once I get all the work done in the first place, then I can just keep printing and have fun. You know, just enjoy over and over. And I really don't think assembling these are really that difficult. But that, you know, I've also been doing this stuff for a while, so maybe it is more difficult than I think. But, you know, I really love doing this. So here we have, you can just leave it like that if you want. It could be that simple, and you don't have to puff anything up, especially if you're mailing it. You know, you could have just this beautiful flat thing that goes through the mail easily. But I love the added puff, so I'm going to go ahead and just use, you know, wall mounting tape. It's a card. I'm not really worried about the whole the acid-free kind of stuff, so I haven't noticed any problems with it. I've actually noticed more problems with some of those runner tapes that say like, oh, this is acid-free and we're happy. I've had them yellow my cards before when I use all white, and so I'm kind of confused. I've never had any problems with these, so, you know, it's hard to know sometimes, isn't it? Like, you're not really sure, like, is it really that bad if it's, I don't know. Well, anyway, I am just going to use what you like, you know? Like, don't worry about what, you know, other people say. If you can afford something and it seems to work really well for you, use that. You know, don't worry too much, I'd say, about people saying it's specifically accurate for that item. And I know some of us can't handle that. It has to be, like, everything has to go together, but yeah, I definitely haven't found any problems with doing it this way. So I'm just going to get like some of these crevices. I really don't like to have a lot of empty areas with my puffs because that can catch on things and get pushed down, and I like things to be firm and look nice no matter how many times it gets, you know, touched, I guess. I don't know. I've totally seen things sink and I'm like, no, it's so sad. So, yeah, again, sorry if this is, you know, way too long for you, but I thought it would be good for you to see, like, you know, from start to finish what I do when I'm assembling these cards. Because I know I've been asked if, you know, you could do this on the Silhouette machine prior, and if you want to go through the like all the work to try to figure out how to get the setting perfect so it will actually cut it, you can. You could probably eventually do it. But I found with some of my other cards I had texture on it and it was really hard to get it to want to cut around it. So I'm just doing this the old school way. Just scissors and tape and happiness. So yeah, I feel like that's just fine. So here's the card, and I think just the little pop-up is really cute, as you can see. So here we've got our envelope that we made, and, you know, this gorgeous card, and you can sign the back so that everybody knows that you handcrafted it. So, Tammy, I hope that helps. I hope you're able to understand how you do the downloading and the printing, and I hope this makes sense to you, and any of you who have been wondering, well, I don't really understand a printable card, you know, what does that mean? Hopefully this helps, and hopefully you can have some fun printing up and enjoying the cards. So thank you for joining me. I hope you have a great day. I hope you're going to craft as well and make something that just makes you feel happy. I mean, that is what crafting is about, don't you think? You create something out of nothing and you see something beautiful. You just start out with paper. You add some ink and you use scissors and tape and you're happy in the end, right? So anyway, love you guys. I hope you have a great day and really, truly, thank you for spending time with me. Goodbye.